All right, so former Defense Secretary Mark Esper has come forward. He's got a book, I guess, coming out. He's talking about stuff Trump did. Trump wanted to shoot missiles into Mexico, and now saying that he actually wanted uh, to send American troops in to kill American citizens during the George Floyd protests. And let's be honest, there was a whole lot of conservatives that wanted that. And it's amazing to me seeing things like this um, don't even really shock me anymore. Like they don't. Like I look at stuff like this and I recognize for what it is that Trump was never our president. That Trump was always just a bigot and a person with a huge ego that did things for conservatives they liked and believed in. He was talking about going back to a time and an age where a lot of people were disempowered. Gays were in the closet. Black people were disempowered. Women were disempowered. That's what he wants to go back. That's what he wanted to go back to. Killing people in the streets with American troops would have made martyrs, first of all. I mean, we still remember people who passed during the civil rights era. We still remember Malcolm X. We still remember Medgar Evers. We still remember people who were murdered. We still remember we remember a lot of people that passed back then who were murdered. So what Trump would have really done is he would have made a bad situation worse. He would have pushed, and that's what he wanted, because Trump wasn't a problem solver. Trump was a tool of the right to push right wing ideological stuff. I've talked about it. I don't think he believed he could get the wall. I realize that now in politics that sometimes they push stuff they know can't go. It won't go. It won't. You can't. There's some cars you'll never be able to fix them. You know what I mean? They're never gonna be able to get fixed. I don't care what you put into them. They're just never gonna run the way they once did. And that's what Trump was doing. He was pushing an old car from the 40s, from the 50s down the street. He moved money from the Pentagon for the wall, and they got a GoFundMe for the wall. He tried everything. Um, But that's what you do. You do things for your base because you only have your base, and you never reach out to other groups other than people like Kanye West and he talked about Tiger Woods, people like that who weren't political. Trump would have got a lot of folks killed. He would have sent in the airborne, which is they're elite. They're somewhat elite. He's not going to send National Guard. He's not going to send in regular troops. He's going to send in the elite troops to go up in there. And then when your black behind acts up, they're going to gun you down. And it was going to be a huge mess. And it would have escalated tensions. And that's important to remember. Trump was never, that's the number one thing I got from this, is that Trump was never trying to unite America. That all that stuff, I heard one thing one time. Um, they were talking about it's an analogy. So when you have a man in the middle, he says, "Come to the middle with me," and then he steps back. You know what I mean? He's bringing you into his circle. He never intended to meet you in the middle, and that's what Trump was. Trump was never intending on uniting the country in any way, in any legitimate, reasonable manner. It was never about that. It was about making fascism acceptable, making it cool, and making it just another form of opinion. Like they said about gay people. It was that. It was a agenda, and it was an agenda designed to, um, make certain things acceptable. Not necessarily just racism. So the fact that he was so willing to do that. I mean, when he ran up in the church, people, folks were thinking the protests at Lafayette Park, people thought he was going out there to shake hands with the police. He wasn't. He went out there to create a situation to where the police would have to react, Capitol Police, which they did, and hurt a lot of people, and gas a lot of people, and use excessive force because he's the president and he's out here. So, it's like Karens. They have to escalate things. You're escalating the situation. Well, you got no business coming out here. So what happened? They shot the church up. They gassed the church. They went in and arrested the priests. I mean, that is this what you're proud of? Is this what Republicans are proud of? A president that escalated things, a president that was ready to send in elite troops on American streets to kill Americans? I've talked about it. That, to me, the only thing it says from 1984, saving us from it, is people of integrity. And thank God we have those generals that acknowledged. That's why the Trump agenda really that wouldn't go anywhere, because so much of his stuff was stopped from people inside the system. That's one good thing I can say, is that you had so many people inside the system, Mark Milley and others, who just said, you know what, this is going too far. I can't stand with this. And my job isn't to be defense secretary or joint chief staff. My job is to restrain the president from making bad events worse and inflaming a lot of people during a time when tensions were pretty hot already. That, to me, is heroic for him to acknowledge. And that's why we read these books. That's why we pray. We don't read these books and pray and learn all this fancy verbiage just to impress girls and get places. You do these things so that you are able to stand uprightly and make the right decisions and walk with integrity and walk uprightly and be forthright and to understand, what it means to be a godly man, what it means to be a holy man, what it means to be a righteous man. These aren't just words. And I think Mr. Milley definitely, and others, the Mark Esper thing, I don't know, because, he's just writing a book now. I think the fact that so many people are coming out now that worked in the Science administration exposing him, it shows you if he was to run again, he had to have a whole new cabinet. He couldn't bring back those people. And it doesn't matter. When you put people in leadership, no matter how good they are, you've got to look at, do they inspire people? And do people want to follow these folks? And are these people, do they want this? You've got to look at that. And if Trump would be reelected, there's so many folks in this department, so many people in other places who just wouldn't respect him. And to me, that's one of the best things right there for you to show you that he should not be president again. Thank you for listening.